Okay, here is Predecessor, who we call Oreo in the barn. And I'm getting on him in the yard because Seven and Bounce were in the field between the yard here and the ring. And it's just too annoying to try and walk through them because they're such busy bodies. So I just decided to get on him there. And then I took him for a little hack, then down the driveway and through the jump field, and I came in the long way to the ring, which was actually really nice for him. He got to stop for a few bites of grass on the way through the jump field, and he was very good about it. Okay, so Oreo, oh my goodness, this horse burst one of the hugest abscesses I've ever seen come out a heel before. He popped like a double abscess, both of his heels on his right front foot, just totally split open. It looked like somebody put like little grenades on each sides of his heel, and it literally just like exploded. So needless to say, he was pretty lame for quite some time. I think all in all, we're at like 2 or 3 weeks working on this thing. And he's finally come sound. Thank goodness. Thank you, Oreo. Even though I totally understand. I mean, it looks extremely painful, and it's still draining a little bit. But he obviously is feeling quite well on his feet now. But yeah, it's still a little tender, which is just wild. I've been wrapping it up with some poultice pad for like 12 hours on, 12 hours off, because of course you don't want to leave it on all the time. But anyway, he's been a trooper, and he is so happy to be feeling better. He started feeling better end of last week. Friday, I got on him for the first time in about 2 weeks since all this really began. And goodness, he's just so happy to be doing something and having a job. I think he was getting really bored. So we're out here just doing a little bit of, kind of catching up. I had him in a really good spot before the abscess came. And that's not to say he wasn't in a good spot coming out. But of course, you're just kind of re-cementing basic things, working on the straightness. For Oreo, he wants to fall more so on his right shoulder. I think I'm saying this correctly. Yeah, his right shoulder is the one that generally I'm working on standing him up on, which is very normal for a young horse to have, sort of like one side or one shoulder that they fall in on more than the other. And we're just working and trotting over some poles just to spice things up. He actually really likes it, so it just makes it a little bit more interesting for him. And actually going over poles is a really good indicator on your straightness. Can you get to the middle of the pole? Are you perpendicular to the pole? All that good stuff. And I also just think it gets them sort of more engaged with whatever you're doing. I love his frame there. I just love the pole is up, the nose is poked out a little bit. He's very soft in his jaw and his outline. I mean, there I've sort of lost his attention for a second, but in general, the whole frame is very soft, but it's also very correct for such a young horse. Nose poked out a little bit, pole is up. And it's just a nice uphill soft frame. I really like it. And then here he starts to give me a couple moments where he wants to stretch a little bit, which is all well and good. And excuse me, I was wrong. Now that I'm watching him go to the left, I'm remembering that actually it's the left shoulder that he wants to fall on a little bit more than the right. So to the left, we're working on really staying straight, and to the right, I'm always sort of working on keeping him up off that outside shoulder. Sorry, I don't know. I was having a brain freeze. So his trot work is quite good. To do the canter work, he has an amazing canter. I absolutely love it. He is slightly confused on the canter transitions, or at least he was when he came. He just wanted to sort of he just didn't understand the cue to just step into the canter. That's not something that's been explained to him yet. So he wanted to just do sort of a bigger trot until you sort of fall into the canter, and then that takes a little bit of reorganizing. So I really worked a lot with him over getting canter transitions over poles, which worked beautifully over exactly these poles. But we've now trotted over these poles enough times that it's taken any of the sort of the excitement of wanting to step in the canter of them out of the equation. So he just wants to trot over them, which is wonderful. You should just trot over poles. I'm certainly not going to chase him down to a pole and make him do a transition when he just wants to have a nice quiet trot over it. So I decided, well, we might as well just make some little X's. He's definitely totally ready. And so that worked really well to get the right canter transition here. And then I just use that as an excuse to work the canter a little bit. So it's not like the point of this ride is not jumping. I'm just using some poles and some little X's to sort of spice things up, keep him engaged, and also as an excuse to work on things like straightness and finding the canter transitions. And then he did some really nice canter work for me. Here I'm still kind of working on getting his attention and a little bit of right bend. But I think as we come down this long side, he sort of like takes a breath and gets more engaged with me, like right about here. And then this is just so cute. Just a phenomenally balanced canter on this horse. Now, for whatever reason today, he was just all about picking up the right lead over the poles. So to the left, we trot over a ground pole, or excuse me, not a ground pole, an X, in hopes that we're going to land on the left lead. He doesn't, which is fine. But so then I just thought, you know, there is a time when you have to start incorporating regular canter transitions and look to see if using the cross rails or the poles or whatever it is actually help them understand the cue that it's just one step into the canter. It's not a long run-on sentence transition. And so we did do a left canter depart, not using any aids from poles or anything, and actually it was quite good. It took me maybe one long side to set it in the balance I wanted, but he just, in terms of just the aid, he just stepped into the left canter, which was very good. And he's just such a cute mover, this guy. And again, I just love this frame. Lost his attention a little bit there around the corner. Oops, excuse me. Jumped a little up in the air over that X, but that was the first time we'd done it in that direction, and it was an A+ effort. So actually, that was quite a good canter transition there. And then here I've already got him set in the balance I want. So it's actually come a really long way. I'm really impressed with how much he's learned about his canter departs in just a handful of rides, really. And then here he kind of wants to break from the canter because, of course, you're coming out of that corner where 7 and Bounce are. And so it's kind of like quicksand back to the other horses. He wants to slow down coming out of that corner. So here I'm going to try and repeat that and do a little bit better job. And yeah, that's much better tempo and rhythm coming out of the corner. Good boy. Okay, I'm going to butt out of this video. Oreo is a very good boy. He's very cute.